Why does the work so hard? Aradgula said to me one day, almost the same question, though asked of me today. Why does the work so hard? Aradgula said to me one day. Almost the same question though asked of me today. Those though remember, I told him what Megiddo had said about work and how it was proving to be my best friend. I showed him with pride my wallet of pennies and explained how I was saving them to buy my freedom. When thou art free, what will you do? He inquired. Then I answered, I intend to become a merchant. At that, he confided in me, something I had never suspected. Thou knowest not that I also am a slave, I am in partnership with my master. Stop, demanded Hadangula. I will not listen to lies defaming my grandfather. He was no slave. His eyes blazed in anger. Sarunadu remained calm. I honor him for rising. After telling me that he was also a slave, Sarunadu continued. He explained how anxious he had been to earn his freedom. Now that he had enough money to buy his ভাই আর কিছু করে লাভ নেই তো he had been to earn his freedom. Now that he had enough money to buy this, he was such much like করে দাও he was much distributed as to what he should do. He was no longer making good sales and feared to কি শেখাবো অ্যালেন পড়াবো নাকি তোমাকে making good sales and feared to leave the support of his master. I protested his indecision. Cling no longer to thy master. Get once again the feeling of being a free man. Act like a free man and succeed like one. Decide what thou desire to accomplish, and then work will aid thee to achieve it. He went on his way, saying he was glad I had saved him for his cowardice. One day I went outside the gates again, and I was surprised to find a great crowd gathering there. When I asked a man for an explanation, he replied, hast thou not heard? An escaped slave who murdered one of the king's guard has been brought to justice, and will this day be Kali Mansari? Hello. Please like, bro. Flogged to death for his crime. Even the king himself is to be here. मैं हर झारखंड से लाइक सब्सक्राइब कर दिया थैंक यू ब्रो थैंक यू भाई আমাকে কিছু বললে না শোনা তোমাকে বললাম তো তুমি কি অ্যালেন পড়বে आप कहाँ से हो ब्रो हम वेस्ट बंगाल से हैं वेस्ट बंगाल वहाँ पर बारिश आता है कि नहीं? यहाँ पर पूरा बारिश आता है। हाँ, बारिश तो कुछ दिनों से बहुत ज़्यादा हो रहा है। अभी कम है आज से। बट जो नॉर्थ बंगाल है, वेस्ट बंगाल के नॉर्थ में, वहाँ पर बहुत ज़्यादा फ्लड हुआ है। डूब गया है बहुत सारा ब्रिज। दार्जिलिंग में, मिरिक में। जिगर का दोस्त हमारा वेस्ट बंगाल से सब लोग प्लीज इमीडिएटली। ओके ओके भाई, শামীমদা শামীমদার জন্য সাবস্ক্রাইব করে দেওয়া হোক। एक सवाल पूछिए आप हमसे। एक सवाल पूछिए हम हमसे। क्या पूछूं? वहाँ का वेदर कैसा है आपके झारखंड में? घर में सब ठीक ठाक है? घर में सब ठीक ठाक है? यहाँ सब बढ़िया। और खाना दाना हो खा लिया? नहीं नहीं, अभी नहीं हुआ। अभी तो नहीं हुआ। 9:30 बजे होगा। आपका हो गया है खाना पीना? Even the king himself is to be here. So dense was the crowd about the flogging post, I feared to go near the lest my tray of honey cakes be upset. Therefore, I climbed up the unfinished wall to see over the heads of the people. I was fortunate in having a view of Nebuchadnezzar himself as he rode by his golden chariot. Never had I beheld such grandeur, such robes and hanging of gold brass and velvet. हर बुरा पेड़ नजर नहीं मिलता, हर परिंदा परिंदा के छोर नहीं मिलता, जो सच की राही में चलते हैं उसकी आंखों में डर नहीं मिलता। अच्छा, हर बूढ़ा। मेरा हिंदी कमज़ोर है पढ़ने में, तो हर बुरा पेड़ नजर नहीं मिलता है, हर प, परिंदों को घर नहीं मिलता। अच्छा लिखा है, अच्छा लिखा है। समझ नहीं आया बच्चा, अच्छा है। I could not see the flogging, though I could hear the shrieks of the poor slave. I wondered how one of the noble as our handsome king could endure to see such suffering. Yet, when I saw he was laughing and joking with his noble, I knew he was cruel and understood why such inhuman tasks were demanded of the slaves building the wall. After the slave was dead, his body was hung upon a pole by a rope, attached to his leg so all might see. As the crowd began to thin, I went close. On the hairy chest, I saw tattooed two twin serpents. It was pirate. The next time I met Arad Gula, he was a changed man, full of enthusiasm. He greeted me. Behold, the slave thou knewest is now a free man. There was magic in thy word. Already my sales and my profit are increasing. My wife is overjoyed. She was a free woman. The nays of my master. She knew আমার এখানে ঠান্ডা লাগছে আর তুমি ফ্যান চালাচ্ছ। এখানে গরম ভাই, बहुत गरम আছে। इंग्लिश इतना अच्छा बोल लेते हो और हिंदी में इंग्लिश बोल नहीं रहा हूँ मैं, पढ़ रहा हूँ मैं। बोलने में तो मुझे भी दिक्कत होगी और हिंदी मेरा मदर टंग नहीं है और या मैंने सीखा भी नहीं है, इसलिए पढ़ने में दिक्कत हो रही है। Though she was a free woman, the niece of my master, she much desires that we move to a strange city where no man shall know I was once a slave. There our children shall be above reproach for their father misfortune. Work has become my best helper. It has enabled me to recapture my confidence and my skill to sell. I was overjoyed that I had been able, even in a small way, to repay him for the encouragement he had given me. Slave customs in ancient Babylon, though they may seem inconsistent to us, were strictly regulated by law. For example, a slave could own property of any kind, even other slaves upon which his master had no claim. Slaves intermarried freely with non-slaves. Children of free mothers were free. Most of the city merchants were slaves. Many of these were in partnership with their masters and wealthy in their own right. One evening, Swasti came to me in deep distress. Thy master is in trouble. I fear for him. Some month ago, he lost much at the gaming tablet. He pays not the farmer for his grain or his honey. He pays not the moneylender. They are angry, and I replied thoughtlessly, foolish youth, though understanding it to the money lender, didn't she give the title to secure a loan? Under the law, he can claim thee and sell thee. I know not what to do. He is good master. Why, oh why, should such trouble came upon him? Not why Sasti fear groundless. While I was doing the baking next morning, the monkey lender returned with a man he called Sasi. This man looked me over and said I would do. The money lender waited for not for my master to return, but told Swasti to tell him. Uh, No, waited not for my master to return, but told Swasti to tell him he had taken me, with only the robe on my back and purse of pennies hanging safely from my belt. I was hurried away from the unfinished baking. I was whirled away my dearest hopes as the hurricane snatches the tree from the forest and casts into the surging sea. Again, a gaming house and barley beer had caused me disaster. Sasi was a bland, gruff man, and he led me across the city. I told him of the good work I had been doing for the Nananed and said I hoped to do good work for him. His reply offered no encouragement. I like not his work. My master likes it not. The king has told him to send me a build a section of my grand canal. The master tells Sasi to buy more slaves, work hard and finish quick. Bah, how can any man finish a big job quick? Picture a desert with not a tree, just hollow shrubs and a sun burning with such fury the water in our barrels become so hot we could scarcely drink it. Then picture rows of men going down into the deep excavation and lugging heavy baskets of dirt up so dusty trails from daylight until dark. Picture food served in open throats from which we helped ourselves like swine. We had no tents, no straw for beds, straw for uh, bed. That was the situation in which I found myself. I buried my wallet in a market spot, wondering if I would ever dig it up again. At first, I worked with the goodwill, but as the months dragged on, I felt my spirit breaking. Then the heat fever took hold of my weary body. I lost my appetite and could scarcely eat the mutton and vegetable. At night, I would toss in unhappy wakefulness. In my misery, I wondered if Jabado had not the best plan to sark and keep his back from being broken in work. Then I recalled my last sight of him and knew his plan was not good. I thought of pirate with bitterness and wondered if it might be just as well to fight and kill. The memory of his bleeding body reminded me that his plan was also useless. Then I remembered my last sight of Megiddo. His hands were deeply calloused from hard work, but his heart was light and there was happiness on his face. He was the best plan. His was the best plan, yet I was just as willing to work as Megiddo. He could not have worked harder than I. Why did not my work being me bring me happiness and success? Was it work that being brought Megiddo happiness, or was happiness and success merely in the laps of the gods? Was I to work the rest of my life without gaining my desires, without happiness and success? All of these questions were jumbled in my mind, and I had not an answer. Indeed, I was so sorely confused. Several days later, when it seemed that I was at the end of my endurance and my questions still unanswered, Sasi sent for me. A messenger had come from my master to take me back to Babylon. I dug up my precious wallet, wrapped myself in the tattered remnant of my robe, and was on my way. As we rode, the same thoughts of a hurricane whirling me hither and thither keep racing through my feverish brain. I seem to be living the weird world of a chant from my native town of a Haron, besetting a man like a whirlwind, driving him like a storm, whose course no one can follow it, whose destiny no one can foretell. Was I destined to be ever thus punished over? I knew not what new miseries and disappointment awaited me. When we rode to the courtyard of my master's house, imagine my surprise when I saw Aradgula awaiting me. He helped me down and hugged me like a long lost brother. As we went our way, would have followed him as a slave. Hmm, should follow his master, but he would not permit me. He put his arm about me, saying, I hunted everywhere for thee. When I had almost given up hope, I did meet Swasti, who told me of the moneylender, who directed me to the noble owner. A hard bargain he did drive and made me pay an outrageous price. But though art worth it, the philosophy and the enterprise have been my inspiration to the process. Megiddo's philosophy, not mine. I interrupted. Megiddo's and thine, thanks to the both, and we are going to Damascus, and I need thee for my partner. See, he exclaimed. In one moment, thou will be a free man. So saying, he drew from the beneath his robe and clay tablet carrying my title. This he raised above his head and hurled it back into a hundred pieces upon the stones. With glee, he stamps upon the fragment until they were but dust. Tears of gratitude filled my eyes. I knew I was the luckiest man in the Babylon. Work though see by this in the time of my greatest distress. Tidis proved to be my best friend. My willingness to work enabled me to escape from being sold to join the slave gangs upon the walls. It also so impressed my grandfather, he selected me for his partner. Then Hadan Gula questioned, was work my grandfather's secret key to the golden sickles? It was the only key he had when I first knew him. Sarunada replied, the grandfather enjoyed working. The gold appreciated his report and rewarded him liberally. I began to see Hadangula was speaking thoughtfully. Work attracted his many friends who admired his industry and the success it brought. What brought him the honors he enjoyed so much in Damascus? Work brought him all those things I had approved, and I thought work was fit only for the slaves. Life is rich with many pleasure for man to enjoy. Saranaddu commented. Each has its place. I am glad that the work is not reserved for slaves. Were that the case, I could be deprived of my greatest pleasure. Many things do I enjoy, but nothing takes the place of work. Sarunada and Hadangula rode in shadows of the towering talls of the massive bronze gates of Babylon. At their approach, the gate guard jumped to attention and respectfully saluted an honored citizen. With head held high, Sarunada led the long caravan through the gates and up the streets of the city. I had always hoped to be a man like my grandfather, Hadargula confided to him. Never before did I realize just what kind of man he was. This, though, has shown me now that I understand, I do admire him all the more and feel more determined to be like him. I fear I can never repay thee for giving me the true key of his success. From this day forth, I shall use this key. I shall start humbly as he has started, which befits my true station far better than jewels and fine robes. So saying, Hadangula pulled the jeweled baubles from his ears and the rings from his fingers. Then reining his horse, he dropped back and rode the deep respect behind the leader of the caravan. Completed. Completed. Uh, uh, completed. Completed.